Hey everyone, what's up? Danny or Hacked Up for Barbecue here to review The Conjuring. This is directed by James Wan. He also directed the first Saw and Insidious. Producing you have Rob Cowan, Tony Rose Grund, and Peter Safran. Writing you have Chad and Carrie Hayes. Special effects are done by Ozzy Alvarez. And the film stars Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren. He was also in Insidious. Vera Farmiga as Lorraine Warren. Lily Taylor as Carolyn Perrin. Ron Livingston as Roger Perrin, Stanley Caswell as Andrea, Haley McFarland as Nancy, Joey Keane as Christine, Mackenzie Ford as Cindy, and Kyla Beaver as April. And the plot of the film is as follows. Supposedly based on a true story in Harrisville, Rhode Island, 1971, paranormal investigators, married couple Ed and Lorraine Warren, work to help the Perrin family, who are being terrorized by the evil entity of a witch in their farmhouse. Now, ever since that piece of shit, aka the first Paranormal Activity, a lot of other shitty supernatural type flicks have followed, and not always, but most of the time, I find supernatural type flicks very boring and a lot of the same old shit. I'm mostly into 80s horror like slashers, demon flicks, zombie flicks, horror comedies, a few creature features, and when it comes to this generation, it's independent horror all the way for me, but anyway, I've seen a handful of good supernatural type flicks, those being The Ward, Poltergeist 1 and 3, and the first Grave Encounters, and I really love this show that used to air on MTV called Fear that aired from 2000 to 2002. Definitely the best thing I've seen in the supernatural genre, but The Conjuring, this was the one and only mainstream movie I was looking forward to in years. I don't even remember the last time I was looking forward to a mainstream movie, because most mainstream movies nowadays suck total ass, but I was like, holy shit, finally something original. It's actually rated R. Because nowadays when you get an original mainstream horror movie, it's a shitty PG-13 one. So I was like, okay, I'll give this movie a chance and check it out. But this movie was getting a lot of hype and praise, so it made me pretty iffy, because 99% of the time people do that. I usually wind up hating said film, so I get my standards low for this one. That being said, did The Conjuring live up to all of the hype and praise? For once, yes. This movie actually deserves it, unlike that piece of shit Evil Dead remake and all these shitty superhero movies, and this movie is so much fucking better than Insidious that director James Wan also directed back in 2010. That movie was very overhyped and is overrated in my opinion. I only remember one creepy scene in the entire movie. Overall, it bored the shit out of me. The Conjuring, however, had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Anyway, I like the 70s vibe this movie had going for it. I didn't feel like I was watching something that was made in 2013, and I really appreciated that. As a old school horror fan, I thought it was genuinely creepy as fuck, especially this doll Annabelle. The beginning of the movie with her definitely creeped me the fuck out the most. All the characters were likable, and I thought the very end of the movie was actually very emotional and touching. And last, now I can add The Conjuring to that handful of supernatural type flicks I actually enjoy. And on an extra note, I hear they want to do a sequel to The Conjuring and possibly even turn it into a franchise about the Warrens' other investigations. I'm not so sure about that. You have a good movie here and you don't want to fuck things up. The only horror franchises that really have done good were the Evil Dead trilogy, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Now I'm going to talk about what I thought were the best scenes of the film. First, I mentioned the doll, Annabelle. In the very beginning of the movie, you have these two young girls who are nurses who are talking to the Warrens, and they tell them that a little girl died in the apartment they live in, and that the spirit of this little girl wants to live in this doll that they have, so they allow it to do so, which is a really big mistake on their part. One night they come home and they see the doll sitting at the end of the hallway, and one girl goes into a room and it says "Miss Me" all over the room, with pictures of them all cracked. One girl throws the doll in a dumpster, and later on you hear this really fucking creepy knocking that sent chills up my spine. And hearing this knocking, one of the girls goes to the door. She looks down and picks up piece of paper that says "Miss Me" on it. Second, I really like the scene where Lorraine turns around when she's outside the farmhouse and she sees the spirit of the witch hanging from a tree. Third, I really like the scene where you have this female entity with her wrist slashed and she goes, "Look what you made me do." Fourth, I really like the scene where the witch pukes into Carolyn's mouth. Fifth, I really like the scene where you see the witch sitting in a rocking chair from like a side view. You can't see her face, but she's combing the hair of the doll Annabelle, and then she turns her head to the side and looks at Lorraine's daughter. Sixth, I really liked where you heard this demonic screeching on an audio recorder. It just sounded creepy as hell. Seventh, I really liked the scene where one of the daughters, Christine, is trying to sleep and something keeps pulling at her feet, and then it drags her out of bed a bit, and this scares the shit out of her, of course, and she gets up and the door opens and her sister Nancy is sleeping in a bed next to her, so she gets up to go look at what's going on, but she doesn't see anything, but Christine sees this and she says, "Oh my God, it's standing right behind you," and then the door slams shut. Eighth, I really like the scene where the witch jumps out of a closet onto one of the daughters, Andrea. Ninth, I really like the scene where the mom hears the piano playing in the basement, so she goes to check it out, and the door slams behind her, and she's left in the dark, so she lights a match, and then you hear the voice of this little girl go, "Hey, wanna play hide and clap?" And then you see the outside, and the door is shaking because Carolyn is trying to get the fuck out of there and she can't. And 10th and last, I really liked where all the family pictures just came fucking crashing down the wall and fell down the stairs. Anyway, that's it for this review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and take care. Later.